What is your best use of in-camera stabilization? Let's talk about it. It was a really windy day, and I wanted to show you the difference between having the internal stabilization on the camera turned off and turned on. We've been talking about stabilization and how to keep your camera stable from the ground up. We talked about the tripod and the head that goes on the tripod that holds your camera on there so that you can rotate it and you can raise it up and down. But now we're going to start talking about the camera itself, the in-camera stabilization. That's what makes these little action cameras so powerful. They have stabilization inside this little thing. You can set it up to where it stabilizes the video, and it's so smooth that you don't even realize that you're walking and you're bouncing up and down. I mean, you can see it. Sometimes when the stabilization is off, it bounces up and down. But when you turn that stabilization on, man, it snaps in place. And this has a horizon leveling. So, I can turn that camera up to 45 degrees either way, and it holds that horizon just perfectly level, and then it is so stable inside this. That is, again, the advantage of little action cameras, and this gives you a 10-bit color, this little Action 3, and the Action 4 is supposed to be even better, but I love my little Action 3, and I have no intention to upgrade just yet. But what about big cameras?
Last week we talked about stability from the ground up, and I shared about my tripod and about the tripod head that I use. This week we're going to move up the tripod to set what sits on that head, and that's this little camera. This is my little A6700. I've had this camera now for about 3 months, been out in quite a few different situations with it, still learning it, but this is a little monster. I really like this little camera. And one of the things I like is its stability. But you might say, wait a minute, last week you said it's not the camera. Well, the camera contributes to it. It has what they call IBIS, which is in-body image stabilization. This little thing in the middle there, that is the sensor. And this has sort of like, you might think of it as electronic shock absorbers that hold that sensor so that as you're moving the body of the camera, the sensor is staying stable. And there's several different settings. You can turn it off if you don't need it. You can turn it on standard, which with standard, there's absolutely no crop. The image is the same size. And then if you go to active image stabilization, there is some crop. It does crop in a little bit, so your image is going to look a little bit bigger, and you have to take that into account as you're taking your videos with this thing. But it's works really well.
The third equipment component in this quest for stability is your camera lens. This lens has an internal stabilization. They call it vibration compensation. It helps with keeping your shot steady, and that's a very good thing because especially as you zoom this out, this is an 18 millimeter. Now I'm shooting this camera right now. That's my little ZV-E10 that I'm doing this video with. It has the Sigma 16 millimeter on it, and that's why you can get this degree of width. It's a wide angle camera lens, but this is a 1.4 aperture, which means that it opens really wide to let a lot of light in, and that's ideal for low light situations. It's ideal for I use it for astrophotography for night. When you see my star lapses, it's done with this Sigma 16 millimeter lens. Well, this Tamron is an 18, not much bigger, 18 to 300 millimeters. I wanted a lens that would be able to just sort of do it all. If I'm out hiking, I don't want to carry a whole arsenal of lenses. After a lot of research, I came up with this lens here. A lot of times you really need that reach because animals are really skittish. And like this red-tailed hawk that I got yesterday, went out into the field just to get a few pictures for you to go with this. And so I got this red-tailed hawk. He was flying around and checking me out. And then I got these deer, and there were a ton of deer out here at the park. This is all around Elk Lake, one of my favorite places near my house here.
Well, I've been talking about lenses, and I've been waiting for this one to come in. I'm very excited. I want to share it with you. This is going to be pretty amazing, I think. Everything I have read about this and the research I've done on this for what I'm trying to do, I think this is the lens for me. So, open this up. Pull it out here. It's just in a box. You don't want to see that. Reach in this box and get some stuff out. Got some packing stuff. I don't need that. More packing stuff. Don't need that. More packing stuff. Don't need that. I'm glad it was packed up well. More packing stuff. Don't need that. But here it is. Look here. This is a monster. This is the Sony 200 to 600 lens. This is for a full frame camera. I use an APS-C. So instead of 200 to 600, it turns into a 300 to 900 millimeter lens. Back here in the back, my Tamron lens is an 18 millimeter to 300 millimeter. Open it up. Oh, buddy. Here it is. Now, it comes with a lens strap, because this is a big lens. And then it comes with this lens bag. This lens bag for it. Has the instructions, you know what we can do with them. Actually, I'm going to keep those because there's some buttons on here that gets programmed. I need to know how to do that, so I'll probably go back and use that. How to program it. It's packaged well. Comes in here. Oh my. Oh, buddy. Here it is. Check it out. Has some control switches over here. We'll talk about those. Has some control buttons all the way around here. This is an internal zoom. So, I mean, it goes just in a quarter of a turn. It goes from 600 or from 200 to 600. And you can see, unlike my Tamron, which as you zoom it in, as you zoom out to the 300 mark, it gets bigger. This one remains the same. It's all an internal zoom. Isn't that nice? Back here is that's the focus ring for it. And yeah, very, very nice. Check out the lens hood for that thing. I can almost put my head in there. Put that on there. There it is. 200 to 600 zoom. And then just look at the lens itself. Look at that glass. Isn't that amazing? Check that glass out. That is so cool. I can sit here. Woohoo!
Let's put that thing on my camera.
This thing is not light, but it is a joy to be able to use quality gear. Through the years, I've tried to get by on the cheap, and I'll try to use a tool that not really made to do what I want it to do, and I'll go ahead and use it, trying to make it work. And I spend more time fighting the tool than enjoying the work that I'm doing. When you have quality, it just takes the experience to a whole different level. It's a beautiful day. For February, it's amazing. It's right at 70 degrees. The sun is shining and bright blue skies, no clouds, and just lovely. So I'm glad to be out here. I'm gonna see if I can talk a little bit about shooting technique. Well, if you have to handhold a camera without a tripod, it's a bit of a challenge, but you sort of have to make a tripod with your body. And whether you're standing or you're sitting or you're prone, the concepts are about the same. You know, you bring your elbows tight into your body, and that gives you some stability. You bring the camera up to your eye, and you press your eyebrow against the viewfinder and line up your shot. And that is a lot better. Now, this lens isn't bad, and it goes to a 300 millimeter zoom. But when you try something else with this other one, it's a monster. This 200 to 600 is a totally different animal and much more challenging. So you have to get into a good stance, almost like in a martial arts fighting stance. We used to call this a horse when I was taking martial arts. Bring in your elbows tight, same concept. Bring it up to your eye, and you can reach out and steady the camera to take the shot. And honestly, I find the sitting position the most comfortable and the most stable. I bring my knees up into a comfortable position, and then I take and put the same way, put the viewfinder tight to my eyebrow, and then gently squeeze the shutter button. Like in target practice, you don't jerk the trigger on the rifle or the pistol, you just squeeze it. In the same way with the shutter on the camera, you just take and squeeze it closed. And then the third position is the prawn position, or laying down. Same type of concept. Lay on your belly, take and use your elbows as supports. Bring the camera up to your eye. Put the viewfinder tight against your eyebrow. Squeeze the shutter to take the shot.
So again, I'm not trying to pretend that I know everything, and I'm not a professional by any stretch of the imagination. Not really even an amateur. I'm just getting started. But I'm trying to share with you some of the things that I have learned and try to put it all together in one spot. Some of the things that I've learned as I'm studying and researching and trying to get better at this thing of photography and videography. That's been my commitment from the time that I started this channel, was to constantly try to improve, and this is part of that journey. When you put it all together, from the tripod to the head on the tripod to the camera to the lens, um, for me, it has been an exciting journey. And just let me share with you a few of the things that I've gotten just from the last couple of days. So I hope you found this interesting. If you have, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that thumbs up button. It helps me a lot with YouTube. Make a comment. I just love to talk with you and to share ideas and tell me what your techniques are. And then if you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, and we continue to try to grow and get better. And it helps me bring more videos to you like this. So thank you very much. Till next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay on the path, and God bless you.